Well, good morning, my friend, and welcome to the Pastor's Podcast Friday morning. And we are through this week, and of course, the last Sunday, I believe, of February. And then we finish this month, get going into March, and many churches start getting ready for their spring campaign. Of course, around here, we're getting ready for the Old Paths Conference coming up March 17, 18, and 19. Looking forward to that. I'd encourage you to come register now if you can for that. And then right after that, we start our spring campaign. Looking forward to that. I'll be introducing that to the church starting the beginning of March and getting our church ready for a great time of seeing what God can do as we push, trying to see people saved. Then ended out on the Easter Sunday. And that's always a good Sunday here. Looking forward to what God's going to do. I hope that you're striving, that you're pushing, trying to see people saved. Great day yesterday. Got a lot of things accomplished yesterday and was able to go soul winning, visit some people that are just a little bit not able to be as healthy as they normally are and be in church, and able to visit them yesterday. And that was a good day. And looking forward to tomorrow, Saturday. Big push for soul winning as we try to get back into the groove around here after the very cold weather, starting to warm up today. And so now, church, let's be faithful to get back into the groove. Go out, find somebody today that you can lead to Christ. That would be one of the best things that you could do. I'd encourage you to do so. And let's see what God can do for us this weekend as we strive to try to please our Savior in all that we do. Well, today, let's talk about facing your first failure. In Joshua chapter 7 and verse 6, it says, And Joshua rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. Now, everything that Joshua touched seemed, since he became Israel's leader, seemed to turn to gold. It was just one of those things that he was just very successful. He had yet to experience his first failure as a leader. But when he became the leader, Israel quickly got behind his leadership because of one, because Moses set him up, and second, because of what God did by bringing him across the Jordan River. Now, when he faced the Jordan River, he saw that great victory, and when God parted it, so they go to the other side. When he faced the walls of Jericho, again, God showed his mighty power through his leadership by allowing the great walls to fall. Everything that Joshua faced to this point of his leadership showed his great ability to lead. However, the battle of Ai was his first failure. But to Joshua's credit, get this now, it did not make him quit. You know, it's easy to serve God when you're in the victory time, but when you experience a few defeats, now let's see what you do. Now, now he didn't quit. Now, he corrected the mistakes that caused him to get to this point, and then he went on to continued victories from that point forward, not saying that he didn't have a few failures, but God didn't tell us about them. He just kept on going forward and conquering the promised land until he became an old man and eventually died. Now, I want to share some observations about you when you face your first failure. First, you need failure to keep you humble. Oh, my word. Oh, if we never had failure, we'd become very prideful people talking about ourselves. Failure is that reset button of our confidence that turns us from placing our confidence in ourselves to placing our confidence in God. Failure has a way of getting us to look at getting us to look at ourselves and our abilities in a much different light, in that we're not as powerful as we think we are. So failure is good because it humbles us. Second, you need failure because you need God. Failure should make you run to God for help. That's what Joshua did. He immediately, after the failure, fell on his face. And as he fell on his face, he prayed to God and said, God, I need your help. Now get this. Now, failure should make God has to sometimes allow us to fail, because we've gotten so focused on ourselves and our abilities that he says, okay. He says, when you were small, you relied on me. So God allows us to fail because failure makes you realize how much you really do need God to help you in every aspect of your life, ministry, and endeavors. The humbling of failure should turn you to God. Third, failure does not make you a failed leader. Now, what you do with your first hardship or failure determines how God can take you after that. You're not the first leader, get this now, who has faced failure. Every leader's faced failure who God has used. Many leaders faced failure and went on to be the great leaders after that great failure. Failure defines you. It all depends on whether you stay down and quit, or if you get up and say, I'm going to let failure be that key. It's going to be that key that I'm going to go forward for God and do something. I'm not going to let failure be the last chapter of my life. Failure is only the defining action of your life when you quit and you decide, I'm not going to overcome. Failure is humiliating, but it does not make you a failure. Listen to me. If you choose to get up and keep going after failure, you're not a failure. Fourth, get up from your failure and try again. So the greatest action that you can take from failure is, let's get up. Never focus on the failure, but focus on getting up and trying again. Just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again. The focus was on rising up again. The greatest people in history got up from failure and went on to see the great success. Now, failure defines your character. It shows what you have on the inside when hardships come. Now, let your character be known that you're not a failure and that you're going to get up. Fifth, let failure be a cleansing time. Failure reveals your weaknesses, and it shows you where you have some things that you need to correct so God can use you in a greater way. So if I allow the failure to reveal my weaknesses in me, what caused me to fail, identify them, get this now, and I change that action. Now I can turn failure into success because I've removed the sin or the thing that keeps me from being what God wants me to be. Six, keep doing what you have done before failure, before failure, to get you through the failure. So don't turn from the old past because you've seen some failure. A lot of times the failure was because God's purifying me. God's humbling me a little bit. It's not the old paths. The old paths are not the failure. Get this now. You keep walking the old paths. They're not what caused failure. What caused failure was my actions, my getting focused off of God, placing on me, my needing of humbling, my needing of purifying so God can use me in a greater way, my needing of building my character and my courage to get back up. And so get this now. So the old paths are not the problem. You keep doing the actions that brought the successes before the failure. Get back to doing that. Listen to me. That's where most people fail. They fail. The old past failed. No. What failed was you changed from the old path. You started doing something. You added something that you shouldn't have added. So get that out of your life and keep doing the old path. Now, can I say this to people? Maybe you're under a leader who has failed. Now, I want to just tell you something. You've got to say, you know what? Okay, so he's failed. So he's done something. I'm not talking about sin. I'm talking about just failure. He failed in one area. Let's not cast him out. Let's say, okay, God's a God who can use us again, but we cannot allow the failure. Listen to me, many great men of God, they failed, but their people got behind them, and that's why they continued on success. Then I've seen other men of God, get this now, they failed, the people got rid of them, and that church never did anything for God. I think of Moses had the great failure, but the people got behind him finally. Joshua had the failure, but the people still got behind him, even though he failed. I look at Brother Hiles. Brother Hiles, he tells a story. If you listen to his sermons, every once in a while he'll tell that story about when he was just a young pastor out there in Hammond, Indiana. And he called up a place, asked them to tear down this building that he thought that was his. They were going to tear it down. Problem was he gave the wrong address. They tore down the wrong building, and all of a sudden he gets a phone call one night and said, "Brother Hiles, we tore down the wrong building." Now he had to face that failure, and those people could have pushed him out, but they didn't. Boy, aren't we glad that they didn't? Because the great years of Dr. Jack Hiles happened after that failure of knocking down the wrong building. Now, I'm saying to you, okay, so your pastors has some failures. Let's not push them out. And pastor, if you have failed, it's not the end. Listen to me. Don't let that put that chink into your leadership, into your authority. We're all failures, but you're still called of God, and we're all sinners, but you're called of God, and you've got your people need you to lead as a preacher. So don't let failure define you. Get up and keep going. Oh, my friend, that's what separates success from failure. So you fell down. Let's be that just man. Let's get up. Let's do something for God. And let's say, I will not let failure define me. I will not let it be the last chapter of my life. The last chapter of my life is going to be that I kept going and I did something for God. That's what we need in this old country, my friend. And if we do that, our churches can go forward for the Lord. Well, I hope this is a help to you today. Now, let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great weekend, my